Figure skater Kamila Valieva performed at the opening of the GUM skating rink. Valieva skated as the Rat Queen. This is her role in the upcoming New Year's show by Tatiana Navka, the Nutcracker. Other participants of the show also performed at the opening of the skating rink. Tatiana Navka is confident that figure skater Kamila Valieva will return to sports. It seems to me that Kamila is such a multifaceted and talented figure skater and athlete. Mainly in our performance, she always played the roles of gentle, young, beautiful, kind heroines. And it seemed to me that she has already grown to the image of such a character actress and can quite cope with such a difficult role. She is really difficult, and I believe that this role will help in the future to feel herself in other images, in other moods. I am sure that she will return to sports, and she will have such an amazing colossal experience, said Navka. Kamila Valieva believes that the role of the Rat Queen requires powerful skating. You can always feel the new year approaching at the GUM skating rink. And honestly, I love skating here madly, some special energy, a special feeling. And plus, when you skate, you feel beautiful, you enjoy it. Last year, my family and I went here with friends, so this is one of my favorite places. The role is quite powerful, quite adult, so there are no particular difficulties. You just need to skate more powerfully, do everything a little differently, in contrast to how I did it before. I need to skate more powerfully and give more energy to captivate everyone. I have known the fairy tale since childhood, but for some reason other fairy tales have imprinted themselves on me. Tatiana simply warned me what the role would be. It's not that it's difficult to get into it, it's just that there have been roles where I was more focused, more aggressive. Probably that's why it's not so difficult. We just need to refine, finish skating, and change some elements and add jumps, Valieva said. U.S. journalist Jackie Wong named the source of motivation for Russian figure skaters. In your opinion, who suffered more from international isolation, Russian athletes or international competitions? Obviously, Russian figure skaters had to look for other motivation to continue competing. And for athletes competing at the international level, the goals remain the same. The focus remains on major international competitions, as always. Russian figure skaters have previously emphasized the importance of domestic tournaments, so the motivation to show well at home continues to fuel them. Are there not enough Russians on the international arena? Do you consider tournaments without the participation of Russian skaters to be complete? Of course. Competitions are held among those who came to the start and are ready to compete. What prospects do you see in the issue of the return of Russians to the international arena? And what awaits them after their return? I have no idea. I can't say that I've ever predicted the ISU's actions well. Does Kamila Valieva's doping history affect the lifting of sanctions against Russian figure skaters? The ISU ban on Russian and Belarusian figure skaters from competing was related to the events in Ukraine, so Valieva's story did not affect it. Social media discussed how fair Kamila Valieva's judging was at the 2022 European Championships in the short program. At that time, the skater set a world record, scoring 90.45 points for a clean performance with a triple axel. At the same time, Valieva not only broke the record for points overall for the short program, but also for the technique score, 51.73 points, and for components, 38.72 points. Foreign figure skating fans felt that Valieva's scores were extremely inflated, and that her jumps, including the triple axel, did not deserve the high GOE quality of execution bonus that the judges gave her. Gold diamonds, 2.19 GB quality of execution bonus for the triple Lutz triple toe loop combination seems crazy in retrospect. SK8 Turgator, especially for Kamila's Lutz, which was not her strongest jump. Space rated, not just the Lutz, but any jump combination. They were so bad that they dedicated an entire article to them. Points. The only elements that deserved +4 and +5 bonuses were her spins. Vanderwalls she scored over 80 points for her short with a step out on a triple axel. How many years into her senior career did it take Kori Sakamoto to score 80 points for a flawless performance? Linstatutsenthal. The craziest thing is that not only was Valieva competing in her first senior season, but it was at Europeans. This kind of crazy inflated score is usually only seen at the Olympics. The fact that these scores were given to a skater with less than one senior season under her belt is completely absurd. Chang 365. These scores are ridiculous, including the GE quality of execution bonus. She wasn't that good. Sorry, Kamila fans, you can judge me for this. Swift lad. Technically, she wasn't that good, but she was able to hide most of her flaws. Routine Spiritual 8917. This is crazy. Valieva was a great skater. Let's put aside what we know, and I agree that she was the best in the world at that time. However, she could be the best in the world and still not score a 90 on a clunky triple axel. Dina_Rose. Even Amber Glenn doesn't get such high GEs for her beautiful and consistent triple axel, and she's really consistent when it comes to landing her triple axel. Swift lad. 2022 Europeans was basically the only competition where her triple axel in the short program didn't have any axis issues, which is why it's her highest triple axel score. The axis issues were obvious at all the other competitions. Dina_Rose. Even Liza Tuktamasheva and Amber Glenn never got such high scores for their triple axel routines, and they both have really consistent, textbook perfect triple axels and are pretty consistent with them. Andromache 97. I really try not to think about it too much because it just drives me crazy with how stupid and fake this sport can be sometimes, haha. Easy Tripsy. I think all of Ettore Tupperid's skaters should have little stars next to their scores because that group cheated. Unfortunately, I firmly believe that Kamila is not to blame here, but Ettore's entire group is suspected of using banned performance-enhancing drugs. I enjoyed watching them skate, Trusova, Kosternia, Sherbakova, but their country really did them an injustice, judging by how the world now sees it. Peach Bomb 37. Controversial opinion. But this is one of the reasons why I like that Russia does not participate in international competitions. In fact, the scoring is more or less fair now. Only _environment_416. I am now rewatching some of those Valieva programs, and they all leave me completely indifferent. She spun beautifully her quadruple toe loop, without discussing how she did it and whether it was fair or not, was magnificent, but that's really all. 2021 is a real daydream. President Gel 24. Her score for components is just insane. Terrible judging. Recall that Kamila Valieva won gold at the 2022 European Championships, but it was annulled after she was disqualified for violating anti-doping rules. Anna Sherbakova is now the 2022 European champion. Valieva's prize money and medals were not distributed among Russian figure skaters after her disqualification.